per second, right? For megabits per second, we write like this, megabits per second. Now you see here, this M has to be capital, right? If you write it like this is million. So this means that whether this letter is a small or capital, it is important, right? Because I see some students writing like this, kilobits per second. This is wrong. This P is small, it's not capital. This M is capital when we are talking about mega. This M is small when we are talking about milli, and so on. So it's not just the letters, it's their nature as well. Is it small or capital? So you have to make sure that you're using the right letter when it comes to units. Okay. Okay. A multiplexer combines 400 kbps channels using a time slot of 2 bits. Okay. Now it's different. In the previous one, you were using 1 bit at a time. By 2 bits, what does it mean? He's taking 2 bits from each user, right? So this is a little different. Show the output with 4 arbitrary inputs. Okay. Now let's first look at the diagram, how it looks like when you do that. Then we'll come back to the problem. So you have 4 users, okay, each one with 100 kbps. This is the input, right? Exactly the same as before. Then they go to the multiplexer, TDM multiplexer. After multiplexing, this is what it is. Now you see here in each frame, what is happening? Each frame has 8 bits. Okay. Now let's suppose you were using the previous one. You were using only 1 bit at a time. In that case, what it would have been? It would have been like this. Right? If I take only 1 bit at a time, then the frame is going to be like this. Agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
But if I'm taking 2 bits at a time, then the frame is like this. So in this frame, I have 4 bits. While in this frame, I have 8 bits. So in this case, the frame is, the size is the same, but there are more bits. Okay. Now, if I'm using 1 bit at a time and I have 4 bits, then if I ask you, what is the frame rate in this case? What would you say?
4 bit.
No, frame rate.
Same as the
100 kilo frames per second. Do you agree?
Yes.
Right? The frame rate, when I take only 1 bit at a time, is going to be the same as the input bit. But now when I'm taking 2 bits at a time, the frame rate has been reduced by half. Why? Because in the same space now I'm sending double the bits, right? So to maintain the same bit rate, I have to halve the frame rate, right? Again, this is the case when you are taking only 1 bit at a time. So I have 4 bits. So here the frame rate is going to be the same as the input bit rate, 100 kilo frames per second or 100,000 frames per second. Now instead of 4, I now have 8 bits in the same frame. So I'm sending more bits, right, in one frame. Double the bits. Here I have 4 and here I have 8. So I can reduce the frame rate by half. Is it making sense? Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Amjad is wondering what's going on, right?
No.
But is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why now I have 50,000 frames per second. Okay? Right? Okay. And so frame duration will be 1 over 50,000, which is 20 microseconds. Okay? And the bit rate is going to be the same, 400 kilobits per second. Right? 4 users, 4 times. Right? Okay. Now let's solve the problem. A multiplexer combines 400 kbps channels, just like I showed you, using a time slot of 2 bits. Time slot of 2 bits, or the unit is 2 bits, it's the same thing. Right? In the exam, if I give you a question, the unit is 2 bits. That means I'm taking 2 bits at a time. Show the output with 4 arbitrary inputs. We just saw the diagram, 4 inputs. What is the frame rate? We just calculated it was 50,000 frames per second. What is the frame duration? 1 over 50,000, which is 20 microseconds. What is the bit rate? When he's saying what is the bit rate, he's asking for the output bit rate, because input bit rate is already given, right?
400.
If he's not telling you which bit rate he's asking output, because input you already gave him. So the output bit rate is going to be the number of users multiplied by the input bit rate, 400 kbps. What is the bit duration? He's asking about the output bit duration. How much is that?
1 over
1 over 400,000 bits per second. Okay. 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 Now, so far, what we have done in TDM, we are assuming that each user has data to send, right? It is possible sometimes that some user says, "Oh, I don't have anything to send," like this case. In this case, he's taking 1 bit at a time. So he takes 1 bit from here. This guy, he doesn't want to send anything. So that is empty, right? And this guy has some data to send. He sends, and this guy has some data to send. So this is the frame, right? In the next time slot, this guy has data to send. He does not have. He does not have, and then he has. So you can see that in this synchronous TDM, sometimes you are wasting resources, right? That you still have nothing to send, but since it has already been sent, so you are wasting those slots, right? This is one of the disadvantages of this. So these are called, when you are not sending data, these are called empty slots, right? This is one concept. Then there is something called multi-level multiplex. Now you see, whatever we have done so far, if you go back to all these problems, all the users have the same bit rate. What about if some users have different rate, right? It is possible that there are users, some users are sending data at some rate and some other users are sending data at some other rate. So what to do in that case? So there is one thing which is called multi-level multiplex. If, for example, you have users like this, you can see 3 have a speed of bit rate 40 kilobits per second, and 2 have a bit rate of 20 kilobits per second. So now, since this is half of this, I can use a multiplexer and I can combine these two into one 40 kbps. So now it is like I have 4 users, each of 40 kbps. Now I can handle it the way I was handling synchronous TDM, right? And then you can combine, and the output bit rate is going to be 4 times of this.
Doctor, when the bit rate is very different, maybe 15, 16, how can...
Yeah, his question is that this is 40 and this is 20. Since these two are 20, it was easy to combine and make it 40 because it matches. What about if this is 15 and this is 16 and this is 17, right?
Yes. Something
like that, right? We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We are, gradually making the problem complex. So if this is the case, this is how we combine, and now it is the same problem as before. Yes.
One per user.
Here I have 5 users, but after I do this, now I will treat them as 4 users, right? So now when you solve the problem, you forget about this, and you assume that you have 4 users of 40 kbps. 10 sources. Okay, let's solve a problem, and it will also clear some of the concepts. 10 sources. 6 with a bit rate of 200 and 4 with a bit rate of 400 kbps are to be combined using multi-level TDM, the previous one, with no synchronizing bits. Answer the following questions about the final step. It is very easy. Okay. Try to solve it. I'll just draw one diagram to make it easy for you. I have 10 sources, 6 with 200 kbps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All of them are 200 kbps. Then 4 are with 400. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is 400, and from here to here, all of them are 400, right?
Yeah.
Now he's saying that answer the following question. He's using TDM, and he's using multi-level TDM, not synchronous TDM. What is the size of a frame? What is the frame rate? What is the duration of a frame? What is the data? Okay. Now I'm trying to answer these questions. Finished? What is the size of a frame? Good. Yes. Yes. Yeah, not 3 more. In place of 6, 200, we have 3, 400. And 4 we already have. That's going to be 7. Yes. That's what we have. And once you make it 7, now the problem is the same as the old problems. Yes. Yes. 5 micros. Frame rate. So how much is the frame rate? See, it is frame rate.
Okay.
Whenever it is rate means in speed.
Yeah.
And rate is frames per second or bits per second, right? And the frame rate is always the same as the input bit. How much is the input bit rate? 400. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Of course, our input is already given. He's saying what is data rate. So data rate means he's asking for the output data, output bit rate. Because input bit rate is already given. We do not ask input bit rate. You're taking one bit from each user, right? what is the size of the frame? How come 10? With this, because you have 200 and 400, right? You have two different rates. So you first make one rate like this, right? Here it's 20, very small. So you combine two, that's like 3 users of 400 gigabytes. Yes. Okay, now here is the solution. Well, let him come. Azim has not come. When he comes, you tell him why you took so long. You left the class at 11 and mashallah. Your friends are waiting to go to the washroom.
Oh.
You take so long.
I'm sorry.
No, say sorry to him. Okay. Now part A. What is the frame size? How many bits are there in one frame? So each output frame carries 1 bit from each of the 7 4-bit. You know there are 7 users now, right?
Yes.
You combine some of the users. So it's going to be 7 users multiplied by 1 bit, which is 7 bits. Part B. How much is the frame rate? So frame rate is the same as the input bit rate. The bit rate is 400 kbps. So the frame rate is also 400 frames per second. Part C, frame duration. Just take the reciprocal of frame rate. That gives you the frame duration. Part D, output data rate. See, whenever he says data rate, that is actually asking for bit rate. How many bits per second, right? So you know the frame rate. It is 400,000 frames per second. How many bits in each frame? 7 bits in each frame. So 7 into 400,000 gives you 2.8 megabits per second. Right? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, now let's talk about this, the reverse. That one was multi-level TDM, where you had some resources at high speed and some at a lower speed. If you have this kind of situation, where you have one source of 50 and 3 are 25. So if you will combine these two, what will you do with this? Right? So you cannot use multi-level, because this is 50, this will become 50, but then this is 25. So in this case, what we do, we split the one which is 50 into 225. Now again, it is the same problem as before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 users of 25 kilobits per second speed. Right?
Yes.
Is it clear?
Clear.
So this is called multiple slot multiplexing. That is, instead of having 4 slots, now you are having 5 slots. You are splitting this into 2 more slots. Okay. So we did synchronous TDM first of all, in which all the input users had the same bit rate. Then we did multi-level TDM, where some users, the speed of some of the users was half the speed of the other users.
Yes.
So we combined those users to make the speed exactly the same for all users. This is the third case where the speeds are such that we can split 1 or 2 users into lower speeds, okay, and then we can treat it as the old problem. This is called multiple slot TDM. So these are 3 types: synchronous TDM, multi-level TDM, and multiple slot TDM. Okay. 2 channels, one with a bit rate of 100 kbps and another with a bit rate of 200 kbps. So one is 100 and one is 200.
Yes.
Are to be multiplexed. How this can be achieved? What do you think? Split.
Yeah.
So you have one is 100 and the other is 200. So this 200 is split into 2 100. So now you have 3 users of 100 kbps, and the problem is the same as before. So how this can be achieved? What is the frame rate? What is the frame duration? What is the bit rate of the link? Okay. So it is going to be something. No, I don't have a picture here. We can allocate 1 slot to the first channel, which is 100 kbps, and 2 slots to the second channel, which is 200 kbps. So now we have 3 slots or 3 users of 100 kbps. Each frame carries 3 bits, right? It is something like this. One was 100, right? And one was 200, right? So what I did, I split this one into 200. each one is 100. Right? So this one is 100, and now I have this. So I have 100, another 100, and another. So each frame will carry how many bits? 3 bits. The unit is 1 bit, each frame will carry 3 bits. So each frame carries 3 bits. The frame rate is 100,000 frames per second. Why? Because now you see it, I have 3 of 100. So the frame rate is going to be the same as the input bit. Okay. The frame duration is, just take the reciprocal of 100,000, that gives you 10 microseconds. The bit rate is 100,000 frames per second, and each frame has 3 bits, right? So it becomes 300 kilobits per second as the output bit. Yes?
In the last problem, we consulted with this one, right?
Which one? Yeah, if you want to make your life difficult, you can split easy. Just kidding. What he said that the previous problem also could be solved using multiple slot TDO. What he's suggesting is you had 6 with 200 and 4 with 400, right? So what he's suggesting that is split the 400 into 200, each 400. So now you're going to have 8 plus 6, 14 users, right? But answer should be the same.
Yeah.
Answer will be the same. Did you get my point? What is his question?
Yes.
Okay. This example 6.10, this is a solved problem in the book. I will leave it for you. Question is there and solution is also there. So you should be able to understand. If any problem is there, if you have any issues, you can ask. Okay, so this I am leaving for you. Now the answer to this question. You have 250 kbps and one is 46. Multi-level will fail here and multiple slot will also fail. So what is the solution? The solution is pulse is stuffing. What's the meaning of this? You know what's the meaning of stuffing in English? Stuffing. Yeah, you fill something, you know,
Yes.
right? Like even the pillow. I don't know what is pillow in another. Pillow, the one that you put under your head. So you stuff it with cotton,
Yes.
right? So pulse stuffing is that it is 46 kbps. So you fill it with 4 kbps more to make it 50. And now again you have 3 users of 50, so the output rate is going to be 150 kbps. Because 3 users, right? So the output is going to be 150 kbps. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I think there's this slide.
Which one?
Just
Yeah, this I sent it. I sent it again. I sent an email. Somehow I missed this slide, and I sent it later on. So now, if you go to e-learn, you will find this slide. This one, and there is a correction in this one. This was millisecond in the original one. You will see it is millisecond. I corrected it, made it micro. Now you can replace it with that. So it is actually micro, not milli. So on e-learn, you have the corrected slide also. Right? Is it clear?
Yes.
Right? Those are the issue of these 2 slides. Okay. All right. Solve this one. Now you should not face any problem. It's very easy. frame rate is always the same as the input bit rate. Okay, and then for the relation is double. And the data rate is over. Yes. 2 bits, 190. Plus 190 the units are lost. And here also the units are. Think about that. I'll come back. Correct it and then I'll come back. Read the question again and see where is the mistake. Yes. Two coordinates. Yes, did you figure out? Okay.
لا بالك كيف لا
And the number is okay. Is duration. It is duration. It is not rate. What is the meaning of duration? What is duration in Earth? Yeah, seconds. So while frames per second. It should be just seconds. Yes, is what is the duration of a frame? Right? Duration of memory. For how long the frame is staying? Okay, forward, he's saying that this is the frame, right? So how much is speed? He has to what time? The unit of time is seconds, milliseconds, microseconds, not frame seconds. Okay, so it is going to be 5.26
شفت اللعب هذه مايكرو
1 micro because it is 1
هذا 5.2 6
do it. That's all right.
6
Okay, this is the solution. Okay, match your solution with this solution. It should be the same. Right?
دكتور
Everybody got the solution? Yes.
واي 370
Why 380?
70
No, it's 80. He's just telling. Here the output bit rate is greater than the sum of the input rates because of extra bits added to the second. So what he's saying that in input you had one for 190 and the one was 180,
yes.
right? So 190 plus 180 gives you 370,
yes
right? But here the bit rate is coming out as 380. So he's explaining why it is 380, why not 370,
okay
right? Okay. Now this is called digital hierarchy. Just like you had analog hierarchy in FDM, remember? We talked about it, we combined several telephone users, we made a group,
Yes,
and
yes.
several groups, then you get super group, and jumbo, and so on, right?
Master.
Something similar is there for TDM. This is for digital lines. Now you see here, each individual line is called PS0, and there are 24 such lines. The speed of each line is 64 kilobits per second. When you combine them using TDM, it is called DS1. And the speed of DS1 is 1.544 megabits per second. Okay? So by combining 24 DS0s, here you get one DSP. Okay? And then you combine them and you get DS2 with 6.31. And then you combine them, you get DS3, DS4, and so on. Right? So this is something similar to what we did in the frequency multiplexing, but that was for analog signals. This is for digital data. And these are the specifications. That DS1 is actually also called T1 line. Its rate is 1.544 Mbps, and the channel, there are 24 channels in this. Similarly, DS2, it has 96 voice channels. DS3, it has 672, and the other one is 4032, and these are the speeds of all these channels. These are, these are the standard that are being used. Okay, now this is an example where he's showing you the T1 line. T1 line is this one, DS1, right? This DS1. So in T1 line, what is happening? You have 24 voice channels, okay, all digital. And you use, because they are all analog, so you first have to convert them into digital by using PCM, pulse code modulation. And after that, you combine them using TDM. So you are combining actually 24 voice channels. So 24 into 64 gives you how much? 24 and this is 64, right? This gives you 1.536 megabits per second. But the actual rate of the line is 1.544. It is more than this. So what is this extra? Extra is 8 kbps, which is the overhead. Synchronization, control bits, all those things, which is not your data, but you need it to transmit your signal. Just like in FDM, you had guard bands. Remember? Yeah. So you were in FDM. What we were doing, you were saying that this is my original bandwidth. This is for the second user. This is for the third one. And in between, I had guard bands, which was the extra bandwidth that I was using. Here, it's a different thing. It is your actual speed of the users is 1.536 megabits per second, right? Then you add extra bits to each of the users, okay, for control purposes, synchronization or whatever. So when you add that, that makes the speed to 1.544. You are adding 8 kilobits per second overhead. You know what's the meaning of overhead?
Yes. Yeah, in the front.
Yeah,
In the front.
the what?
In the front.
No. What's the meaning of overhead?
It's something you must have it.
Yeah, which is not directly related, but it's like, I give you an example. This is a university, right? So university is supposed to have what? University is supposed to have teachers and students, okay, classrooms, computers, labs, hardware, and all that, right? But the university needs to have some people to clean the different rooms, right? The university has to pay a bill, for example, electricity bill, right? And so many other things, which are not directly related to teaching, right? You need janitors, people to clean the rooms, to fix the chairs if they are broken, okay? But it is not directly related to your teaching. These extra things are called overhead, right? Another example, let's suppose after graduation you open a company, right? It's a software development company. So what you need in a company, in a software development company? Computers and programmers, right? But you have to pay the bill of your office, you have to pay the bill of electricity, you have to have someone to clean the office, right? And all those things. So those extra things are not directly related to software development, but you cannot run your company without those overhead, right? So that is called overhead, the extra thing, which is not your data, but you need it to transmit your data, right? So these 8 kbps, it is not your data, but you need it for error correction, for synchronization, for control purpose, for different type of things, right? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now there is something called statistical TDM. What happens in statistical TDM, because so far we talked about synchronous TDM, the simplest one, where all the users had the same data. Then we talked about multi-level TDM, where you had low rate users and you combine them into a high rate user.
Yes.
The third one was multiple slot TDM, in which you had a high rate user that you split into two low rate users. And this is the fourth one, which is called statistical TDM. Okay, let's see. I'll just go through it briefly because time is up, and then I'll yes.
Can I spell to 3 or 4 when?
Yes, yes. He is asking, can I split one user into more than 2, like 3 or 4? Yes, you can do that. Like for example, if you have one 400, okay, and you have one, for example, 100. So you can split the 400 into 100 users. So then it will be 100 over here and 4 from here. It will become 5. Yes, you can do that. Okay. So what happens in this? You know what's the meaning of statistical or statistics? Yeah. You know, which is concerned with numbers. You know, and which are not fixed.
Yeah.
Numbers which are not fixed. Okay. Like random numbers. So slots are dynamically allocated to improve bandwidth. You know what's the meaning of dynamic? Yes, dynamic means always changing. Static means not changing. And dynamic, you are always trying to change. Right? This person is very dynamic. And he always keeps on doing something. Doesn't sit, idle. So slots are dynamically allocated to improve bandwidth. So what is happening? What has been happening before? You have fixed slots. First slot is for first user. Second slot for second user. Third for third, and so on. Here, this is not the case. You keep on changing those. First slot is in the first bit interval. The first slot might be for the first user. The next one, the first slot could be for the third user, and so on. A slot to an input line is given only if it has data to send. Right? If it doesn't have data, they will not be given the slot. So you don't waste the slots. Right? Remember that slide I showed you, empty slots?
Yes.
Okay. So it avoids that. Therefore, the number of slots in each frame is less than the number of input lines. The multiplexer checks each input line in round robin fashion. You know what's the meaning of round robin? 1, 2, 3, 4. And he keeps on checking all of them, one after the other. It allocates a slot on the line if the line has data to send. Otherwise, it skips the line and checks the next line. So you check. Do you have data to send? He will give you a slot, and your data will come here. If you don't have data, he will not give you a slot. He will give this slot to another guy who has the data to send. Right? And so on. This is called statistical TDM. Okay? We will talk about it next week, inshallah.